Hi, my name is Debbie Brown. Welcome to the Chambers Meet the Candidate. Today we have Mr. Belmore with us. He's running for a position with Bailey's Prairie. So I'm just going to jump in and let you introduce yourself and the position you're seeking, and we'll go from there. So,
All right, thank
that
you.
work? Okay.
Thank you. My name is Tom Belmore. I'm running for mayor of the village of Bailey's Prairie.
Okay. We have contact information for Mr. Belmore that you'll be able to find on the Chamber's website as far as if you have further questions or any information that you want to pass on to Mr. Belmore. We're going to ask some questions today, so we'll just go off that. And again, if you have any questions, you can contact him through there. So we're just going to jump right in. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why, in your opinion, are you qualified for this position, and what sets you apart from the other candidates in this race?
First off, I've lived in Bailey's Prairie for over 20 years. I've been involved with the council, attending probably over 90% of the meetings in the last 3 to 4 years. So I'm therefore acquainted with the issues that they've been addressing and that are yet to be addressed. I'm not going to directly talk, address the issue of the other candidates running. I've never met Mr. Smith, and Ms. Mutina I just met recently at the filing when we both went to file our paper for the position, so I don't know enough about them really to discuss what their positions are.
Okay, fair enough. What issues compelled you to run for mayor, and where do you stand on them?
A big part of the problem, and this is not a reflection on the outgoing mayor, but there's been too much of the we have to do this now, emergency type management in Bailey's Prairie. Uh, you know, we have to enact this budget today because we waited so long. And some of this was due, like recently in the past year, was due to the issues with the flood back in August and September. Delayed some meetings, so in order to meet certain deadlines mandated by the state, they had to rush some meetings. Instead of the normal order of business, they had to do it all as an emergency. And I'd like to see us get away from that, more go toward a more orderly way, method of doing business that we can involve the community in more. I'd like to get more community involvement than we've had in the past. And I've got a couple of ways I'd like to go about doing that.
Okay. How do you plan to familiarize yourself with issues that come before the council?
Largely, like I said, I've been involved in pretty much every meeting in the last probably 4 years, and so I'm pretty familiar already with the issues that are facing council. A couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, they instituted a property tax within that area, and I know it was within the village, and it was very unpopular. Unfortunately, the people don't want to have the tax, but they want the services. It's a common problem that all municipalities have.
Okay. In your discussion with voters, what concern or issue has been raised that has surprised you the most? And what are your suggestions for dealing with the issue?
I think a large part of it with the people I've talked to is the fact that they haven't been that involved with council or with the issues within the village, so they aren't really that familiar with them. And a lot of people that I've talked to that had a negative opinion about this or that, when we talked more and they found out what was going into it, what was behind it, they were a lot more understanding. And I think a big part of that, like I said, was a lack of citizen involvement. And that's going to be one of my main priorities if elected.
Okay. What do you see as the greatest challenge for Bailey's Prairie in the next 5 years and long term? How will you, as an elected official, help face those challenges?
One of the big issues that face not just Bailey's Prairie, but all small municipalities within the county, is the fact that we tend to be overlooked at the county and state level, in favor of the larger areas, within Brazoria County, the Pearlands, Alvins, Lake Jacksons, even Angleton, tend to get more of the attention, and we kind of get table scraps, if you will. And knowing and being familiar with the members of the county commissioners, knowing them and being able to work with them in the past on various things, gives me a way to, I'm already familiar with them. We don't have to introduce ourselves to each other, and part of my job, a big part of my job and the rest of council, if I'm elected, will be to make sure that they know we're out there.
Right. Brazoria County is facing an explosion in population growth. How do you feel this will affect Bailey's Prairie, and what needs to be done to plan for this growth?
Most of Bailey's Prairie is currently either undeveloped, like farm and pasture land, or if it's developed, it's already in single-family lots. So there won't be a lot of development going on there, simply because geographically it's a very small area. And we have to ensure that as our large property owners, the farms and ranches, if they decide that they intend to sell their property to a developer, that we know about that, so we can get in that conversation early on to ensure that the development that does goes on orderly, and it doesn't adversely impact the current residents.
Okay, that's all the standard questions I have. Is there anything else you want to sum us up with?
No, I just, I'd like to thank you all for having this forum for us. I know that there'll be various of the other mayoral and alderman candidates coming in, and again, thank you for having that for us. And I ask you, the voters, to please give me consideration for the May 5th election. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Belmore is running for mayor of Bailey's Prairie. So thank you again for joining us.